The galaxy remembered Earth as nothing but a weak planet, a place once noisy with wars and chaos, but now forgotten in the dust of time. For 1,000 years, alien empires mocked the name of humanity. They erased the stories of great battles. They erased the victories, and they left Earth to be known as a planet of no threat, no danger and no future. But deep inside the archives of the stars, whispers survived. Whispers that humans were never truly defeated. Whispers that they carried a darkness in them that frightened even the bravest of alien commanders. One alien fleet moved slowly toward Earth. Their commander stood tall on the bridge. His soldiers laughed. "This will be simple, just another backward world," one said. "Their cities are broken. Their weapons are toys. Their people are nothing," another added. The commander smiled coldly. "We will take what we want, and the galaxy will finally erase this useless world completely." Their ship stretched across the void, sleek and armed, filled with confidence. As they neared Earth's system, something strange happened. Scanners began to fail. Static filled their screens. "Commander, I do not understand. Signals are jamming our systems," an officer muttered. The commander frowned. "From where?" The officer shook his head. "Old transmissions, they look human." Laughter filled the room again. "Old junk floating in space," a soldier said, but no one noticed how the commander's eyes narrowed. Moments later, a faint voice echoed. Through the speakers, it was broken, metallic, but clear enough to shake the bridge. "Code 9, protocol activated." The soldiers went silent. "What is this?" One whispered. The commander snapped. "Ignore it, keep moving." But another officer whispered, "Commander, these are military codes. Human codes, very old but active." Their fleet pushed forward, mocking the signals. But unease grew. With every mile, suddenly one of the scout ships vanished. No signal, no explosion, nothing. "Find them," the commander shouted. "They cannot disappear into empty space." Yet the void gave no answers. Minutes later, another scout vanished. One soldier muttered, "The old stories. They said humans. They said they never die quietly." The commander silenced him. "Stories are lies told by cowards. Humans are finished." But inside, doubt clawed at his heart. In the blackness of space, something stirred. Shadows moved where no ship should be. One officer gasped. "Contact! Huge mass detected!" The commander turned, and his eyes widened. A warship emerged. It was not sleek like theirs. It was scarred, heavy, covered with marks of battles that stretched across centuries. Its hull was dark, almost alive. "Impossible," a soldier whispered. "Earth has no fleet." The warship moved without a sound. Its engines glowed faintly. Its guns were massive, ancient yet somehow alive. The aliens stared in silence. Then the ship spoke. A voice deep and human filled every channel. "We are the forgotten, but not gone." Fear gripped the fleet. The commander shouted, "Fire on it! Destroy it!" Beams of energy shot across space, but the human ship did not fall. Its armor absorbed the fire like rain on stone. Then it moved, faster than anything its size should move. Its guns lit the void. Alien ships exploded in brilliant flames. Soldiers screamed, "It cannot be real. This is not possible." The battle turned into terror. Every alien ship hit, every maneuver crushed. The warship was not just fighting, it was hunting. It chose targets with precision, like it remembered every tactic ever used against it. The commander gripped his chair, sweat dripping down his face. "Retreat, pull back now!" But it was too late. The human warship cut through them like a blade through paper. On the bridge, silence replaced laughter. "Commander," one soldier whispered, "the stories were true." The commander's voice cracked. "What stories?" The soldier's hands shook. "The old fear. They said humans never stop. They said even when they lose, they prepare. They said one day they would come back." The warship stopped firing. It hung in the dark like a predator, watching its prey. Then, across every alien channel, came a single message, short and sharp. The voice cold and calm. "We remember." The commander fell. into his chair, defeated not by weapons, but by fear. He knew the message was not only for him, it was for the entire galaxy. Within hours, news would spread. Empires would whisper again. The fear of humanity, the fear they had tried to bury for 1,000 years, was alive once more. In the quiet of space, the warship turned, its engines blazing, and vanished into the void. The alien fleet drifted. Broken, terrified, and silent, the commander whispered to himself, "We mocked them, we erased them. But fear of humanity always comes back." The galaxy trembled, for they now knew the truth. Humanity had never been weak, they had only been waiting, and when they returned, no empire, no fleet, and no ruler would ever laugh at Earth again, the alien. Fleet pushed deeper into Earth's system, but unease hung over the soldiers. Their laughter from before was gone, and silence filled the bridge as scanners continued to fail. "Commander, the static grows stronger," one officer said nervously. "Our systems cannot read this sector properly," the commander scowled. "It is nothing but human trash, broken satellites and old transmissions. Ignore it." But even he could not ignore the strange patterns showing on the screens. Suddenly, a low hum echoed through their ships, a pulse that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. "Signal detected," another officer muttered. "It is repeating, Commander. And it's human. An old distress call, very old." The soldiers exchanged glances. "Perhaps survivors," one said mockingly, but no one laughed this time. The hum grew louder, the distress signal twisted into strange codes, and then a human voice, tired, broken, but filled with iron, whispered through the comms, "Still here, still watching. Who dares use this frequency?" The commander shouted, but the voice was gone, leaving behind only silence and static. "It is impossible," the officer muttered. "That signal is centuries old, it cannot be real." But the crew felt it, the cold weight in their stomachs that told them something hidden was waiting. The fleet moved closer to Earth, its blue sphere glowing faintly in the dark, lifeless to alien eyes. No great defense rings, no massive fleets, just quiet oceans and scattered lights. "Weak," one soldier said, forcing a laugh. "They have nothing." But then one of the viewing screens flickered. It showed something drifting in orbit, a satellite, broken and rusted, its panels torn. "Human junk!" the commander growled. "Destroy it!" The ship fired, but instead of exploding, the satellite lit up bright and alive, its panels glowing with strange energy. "Commander!" the officer shouted. "It has activated on its own." Across the fleet, alarms rang. Systems scrambled as thousands of hidden satellites, long dead, suddenly powered up, signals linked together, weaving a net of light around Earth. "Impossible!" cried the weapons master. "These machines are centuries old. How can they move?" The commander's fists clenched. "It is only an illusion. Fire again!" But no shot could hit them. The satellites shifted, as if guided by invisible hands. "Leshush." Soldiers began to whisper. The old stories said Earth hid its weapons. They said humanity never shows its full hand. The commander silenced them. "Enough. Stories are for fools. Prepare to strike the planet." But even as he spoke, the hum returned, stronger, heavier, shaking the walls of their ship. Suddenly, a transmission broke through every channel. The language was old, human, but the words were clear. "Protocol Sentinel active, stand by for judgment." The soldiers froze. "What is Sentinel?" one asked. No one answered. The commander's jaw tightened. "Search the archives, find if this word exists." The officers tapped frantically, but the results only deepened the fear. "Commander," one whispered, "Sentinel was a defense program, a system designed for war, but it was erased from records. Nobody believed it existed." The lights flickered, the ship shook, and then the fleet watched in horror as one of their vessels simply went dark. No explosion, no debris, just silence. "What happened?" the commander roared. "They are gone!" the officer cried. "Vanished, as if swallowed." The crew stared at each other, panic growing. "Pull the fleet back," one soldier begged. But the commander's pride burned. "No, humanity is a ghost. They cannot harm us." Yet his voice shook with doubt. The second ship vanished, the third followed. The fleet was breaking, terror rising. "It is the satellites," one officer shouted. "They are not weapons. They are keys to something hidden." And then, as if answering, the void rippled, and from behind the net of satellites came a shape, massive, cloaked in shadows. It was not sleek, it was not modern, but it was terrifying. A station old, broken yet alive, its surface burned with scars of ancient battles, its weapons long and brutal. "By the stars," one soldier whispered, "they built this and left it waiting." The commander could not speak, his throat dry. Then the voice returned, deeper, louder. "You enter our skies, you mock our world, but we remember and we are not gone." The fleet trembled, weapons locked but useless. Fear spread faster than fire. One soldier cried out, "Commander, we must retreat before it destroys us all." But retreat was no escape. The massive station shifted, its guns turning, and beams of light cut across space, not explosions, not fire, but silence. Ships gone in an instant, erased as if they had never been. The commander fell into his chair, sweat dripping, his pride crushed by terror. "This cannot be," he whispered. "Humanity is dead. I saw their history erased." The voice cut through his words. "Erase us? You cannot, for fear cannot. Be erased, it waits, it sleeps, and then it wakes." The remaining ships broke formation. Soldiers screamed for escape, but the hum followed them. The satellites pulsed, and the ancient station glowed brighter, a predator stretching after prey. The commander gripped his console. "No more. I will not be remembered as a coward," he ordered a desperate attack. But even as the weapons fired, he knew the truth. Nothing could destroy what waited in the shadows. The battle ended before it began. The aliens scattered, their pride shattered and their ships broken. The station did not chase them. It only watched, its glowing eyes fixed on the retreating fleet. Then a final message rang out, carried across every system. "This is Earth, and we never forgot." The commander bowed his head in defeat. The galaxy would hear of this. Every empire, every ruler, every soldier would remember the old fear. The fear of humanity, the fear that had returned once more. And as their fleet limped away, broken and scarred, whispers filled the void again. The same words carried across the stars. "Still here, still watching." Dark silence spread across the alien fleet as they pulled away from the orbit of Earth. The air inside the command ship was heavy. Soldiers whispered, but none dared laugh now. The commander stood stiff, his eyes locked on the shadow in the distance, the old station that had awoken. "Report," he demanded, his voice low but sharp. An officer answered nervously, "We lost 12 ships without a trace. The rest are damaged. Our weapons failed against whatever that was." The commander clenched his jaw. "No fortress, no fleet, only silence. Yet they fight like this? What are we facing?" A young soldier broke the quiet, his voice trembling. "Commander, my grandfather once told me of humans. He said they did not fight like other species. He said they fought like shadows, unseen until it was too late." The commander glared. At him, old stories, but even as he spoke, he remembered the voice, the words that echoed. Still here, still watching, their scanners flickered again, faint signals crawling across the screens. One officer gasped, "Something is following." "Us," the commander turned sharply. "A ship." The officer shook his head. "Not one, many, but they are not on radar, only glimpses, shadows." Panic began to grow. "Perhaps ghosts," one soldier whispered. Another hissed, "Not ghosts, hunters." Without warning, the lights dimmed across the fleet. Alarms rang. Systems went offline. The crew scrambled. "Power loss across decks 3 and 4. An engineer shouted. The commander's voice thundered, "Restore it now!" But before they could, The screens lit up on their own, showing faces, human faces, pale, silent, staring directly into the aliens' eyes. The soldiers recoiled. One shouted, "It is an illusion!" But the faces blinked and their lips moved, whispering words in an old human tongue that chilled even those who did not understand. The images vanished, leaving only static. Sweat dripped down the soldiers' brows. "How is this possible?" the officer muttered. "They are inside our systems." The commander slammed his fist against the console. "Impossible! They are centuries dead. How can they do this?" But fear gnawed at his heart. Suddenly one of the ships in the fleet screamed through the comms, "They are here! They are inside!" The channel cut off with a burst of static, and when the fleet looked to the viewports, the ship was gone. No explosion, no fire, just gone. "This is not war," a soldier whispered. "This is a hunt." Moments later, another ship vanished. Then another. The shadows thickened around them. The commander roared, "Form tight formation, all ships defensive." But as they moved closer together, the darkness seemed to press harder. Something massive moved just beyond sight. Their scanners showed nothing, yet every soldier felt it. The sense of being watched, the sense of being prey. Then it appeared, not sleek, not shining, but monstrous, a human warship, larger than anything the aliens had ever seen. Its hull scarred, its metal blackened by fire, its shape uneven as if grown, not built. "What is that?" an officer whispered. No one answered. The ship drifted closer, weapons silent, its mere presence crushing them. The comms crackled again, the same human voice, calm and cold. "You thought we were gone. You thought fear had no memory, but fear. Wait, it grows." The commander shouted back. "We are not afraid. You are relics, ghosts clinging to broken machines." But his voice wavered. The warship's guns lit for a second, only a warning, beams of light grazing past their hulls. Every soldier flinched. "Why do they not finish us?" one asked. Another replied with a trembling voice, "Because they want us to run. They want us to carry the story back." But the commander was not ready to surrender pride. "No, we will not run. Prepare to fire. Concentrate all weapons on that ship." But as the fleet prepared, the human ship disappeared. One moment it was there, the next it was gone. Where did it go? Panic spread again. Suddenly, the human warship reappeared right above them, its shadow covering the fleet, its size now terrifying. Soldiers screamed, "We cannot fight this!" One dropped to his knees. The commander shouted in fury, "Stand and fight!" But his words fell on deaf ears. The warship loomed like a nightmare made of iron. The comms opened once more, but this time the voice was different. Not one voice, but many, countless human voices layered together, whispering and shouting as one. "You tried to erase us, but shadows remember and shadows return." The commander felt his blood freeze. Never before had he heard such a sound. It was not language. It was something older, primal. Then the warship finally fired. Not a full strike, just one precise shot. Slicing through one alien vessel, the explosion shook the fleet. Wreckage scattered into the void. The warship fell silent again, its glowing eyes watching, daring them to move. The commander gritted his teeth, pride crumbling. He whispered to himself, This is no war, this is a warning." The soldiers looked at him, desperate. "What do we do?" The commander closed his eyes. "We live, we carry the story. We tell the galaxy what we have seen, for if we lie, the shadows will follow." The fleet retreated, limping, broken, fear echoing in every corridor. And as they left Earth's skies, the voice followed them, soft but sharp. "Run if you must, but remember, we are awake." In the dark silence of space, no one laughed at Earth anymore. They whispered instead, whispers that traveled fast, whispers that cut deep. Humanity was not gone. They were waiting, and every empire that had mocked Earth for 1,000 years would soon tremble, for fear of humanity always comes back. The alien fleet floated in broken silence, every soldier shaken by what they had seen, but the commander refused to show weakness. His voice cut through the fear. "We are not prey, we are warriors, and no shadow will decide our fate." Though his words were sharp, doubt twisted inside him. The men exchanged nervous glances. They knew something hunted them in the dark. Suddenly, alarms blared across the bridge. "Contact!" An officer shouted. "Massive object approaching at high velocity." The crew rushed to their stations. Their screens flickered with static. But one image broke through. The human warship, larger, closer, and more terrifying than before. Its scarred hull glowing faintly, its guns silent but ready. "It's back," a soldier whispered, his voice shaking. The commander gritted his teeth. "All ships prepare weapons. Fire at will." The fleet lit up the void with blazing energy beams. Missiles streaked forward. The darkness exploded with light. But when the smoke cleared, the warship still stood, untouched, unmoved, its armor absorbing everything. One soldier gasped. "It is like striking a mountain with stones," the commander growled. "Keep firing, break them apart." But before they could fire again, the warship moved. It was fast, too fast for something so massive. In a blink it was inside their formation, its cannons turning with cold precision. Beams of light burst from its sides, slicing through alien. Ships' explosions shook the void. Screams filled the comms. "They are tearing us apart," a pilot cried before vanishing in fire. On the command bridge, panic grew. One soldier shouted, "Retreat! We must retreat!" Another hissed, "No! Escape! They want us destroyed!" The commander roared, "Silence! Hold formation!" But the truth was clear. Formation meant nothing against this predator. The human warship's guns went silent again. It drifted slowly, its presence alone suffocating. Then a voice cut through the comms, calm and cold. "You mocked us. You erased us, but you cannot erase fear." The soldiers trembled. The commander slammed his fist. "Cowards hiding in machines! Show yourselves!" For a moment, silence. Then the screens flickered. Human faces appeared again, scarred, grim, their eyes filled with fire. They spoke as one. "We are here." The soldiers recoiled. They are alive," one whispered. But another muttered, "No, they are more than alive. They are waiting." Without warning, the warship released drones, small, sharp, fast machines. They swarmed the alien fleet like a storm of blades, slicing through hulls, crawling over ships, drilling into armor. Screams echoed through the comms. "They are inside the ship. They are everywhere." Corridors filled with fire as the drones cut through doors, dragging soldiers into the dark. "No! Stay back!" one cried before silence swallowed his channel. The commander's hands shook, but he forced his voice steady. "Rally the fleet, destroy the drones, fire everything." Explosions lit the void as alien ships fought desperately. Some drones were destroyed, but more poured from the warship. Like endless shadows, in the chaos, one officer whispered, "Commander, maybe they do not want to kill us all. Maybe they want us to see, to tell the galaxy." The commander glared at him. "They want to humiliate us, to break us, and we will not allow it." But inside, he knew the truth. Every second of this battle was a message. Then the warship shifted again, its main cannon glowing. A weapon that seemed older than the stars themselves. Energy gathered, blinding. "Commander!" An officer shouted. "If it fires, everything will end." The commander stared, frozen. "So this is how humanity fights." The cannon fired, not at their fleet, but past them. A beam of pure destruction ripped through empty space, cutting. A path so wide it swallowed asteroids and moons. Silence fell. Every alien soldier stared, their hearts frozen. The warship had just shown them what it could do. A single strike that could erase entire systems, and it had spared them. The comms opened one final time, the voice colder than ice. "We choose who lives, we choose who remembers. Run to your empires, tell them humanity has returned." The commander fell back into his chair, sweat dripping, his pride shattered. "Why spare us?" he whispered, but no answer came. Only the shadow of the warship drifting away into the void. The surviving ships limped together, the silence broken only by the sound of failing systems and frightened breaths. Soldiers looked at their commander. "What do we tell the galaxy?" one asked. The commander closed his eyes. "Tell them the truth. Tell them humanity does not fight to win. They fight to haunt, and fear of them will never die." As the warship vanished into darkness, a final message burned across their screens. In bright red letters, old human code but easy to understand. "We remember." The fleet turned back, broken, terrified, but alive. They knew their survival was no mercy. It was a warning, and soon the galaxy would tremble as the whispers spread. Whispers that would become roars. Whispers that said humanity was not weak, not gone, but waiting. And when they returned in full, no one would stand against them. The alien fleet returned home broken, their hulls scarred, their voices heavy with silence. No songs of victory, no cheers, only the weight of what they had seen inside the command chamber. The leaders of the Empire gathered, their eyes fixed on the commander who had led the attack. "You were sent to erase Earth," one of them hissed, "and instead you crawl back defeated." The commander stood firm, though fear shadowed his face. "We were not defeated by weakness, we were spared by choice." The room stirred with uneasy whispers. "Spared by humans?" Another leader scoffed. The commander's voice rose sharply. "You laugh, but you did not see. You did not hear their voices. You did not feel the shadows pressing against your mind." Silence followed. His words carried weight. Soldiers behind him nodded slowly, their eyes hollow from the terror of what had happened. A young officer stepped forward, his voice trembling. "They could have destroyed us with one strike, but they let us live. They want the galaxy to know. They want fear to spread." The leaders exchanged uneasy looks. One slammed a fist against the table. "Nonsense! Earth has nothing. They are a relic." But his words rang hollow, even to himself. Rumors spread quickly across the stars, whispers carried by traders, spies, and frightened soldiers in cantinas and war rooms alike. Voices spoke of a single, human warship that erased fleets, of drones that crawled into ships and tore soldiers away, of a cannon that split the void itself. "It is only a story," some said. But even those who denied it felt the chill in one distant system. A merchant overheard two guards whispering, "They say the humans sent a message." The other guard leaned closer. "What message?" The first one shivered. "We remember." Those words alone were enough to silence the room. Back in the Empire's council, the commander faced judgment. "You spread lies to cover your failure," one leader accused. "If humans had such power, we would have seen it long ago." The commander's voice broke with fury. "You erased their history. You called them weak, but you never destroyed them. They hid, they waited, and now they return." One council member sneered. "Fear makes cowards. You let shadows deceive you." But another, older leader spoke quietly. "I have seen this before when I was young. Stories whispered of battles where humans fought like fire, where they refused to die even when crushed. I thought them lies. But now," his voice trailed off, heavy with dread. Suddenly, the lights of the chamber flickered, the council froze. "What is this?" one barked. The screens lit up, static filled the air, and then a face appeared. A human face, scarred, cold. Eyes burning with ancient rage. The leaders stumbled back. "How is this possible? This is a secure channel." The face did not blink. It only spoke two words. "Still watching." Panic erupted. Guards drew weapons, though they knew they were useless. The commander felt his blood run cold. The face vanished, leaving only silence. And shaking leaders, one whispered, "They are inside our systems, even here, even at the heart of the Empire." The Empire tried to hide the truth. They burned records, silenced soldiers, executed those who spoke too much, but whispers cannot be killed. The story spread faster, and with each telling, fear grew. Whole planets began to doubt their safety. Fleets hesitated to move. Soldiers lay awake at night, hearing phantom whispers in their comms. On the outer rim, a small patrol ship sent a distress call. Unknown contact. Approaching fast. Then silence when reinforcements arrived. There was nothing left but drifting wreckage. On the hull of one broken piece, scorched into the metal, were words in old human code. "We remember." Back in the council chamber, the leaders argued, "We must strike again, wipe them out before the fear spreads further," one shouted. Another shook his head violently. "You fools, strike again and you feed the legend. Humanity does not fight for victory, they fight to haunt." The commander finally spoke, his voice heavy. "The fear has already spread. The more we deny it, the stronger it becomes." Silence hung in the chamber, each leader seeing the same truth. Humanity had not returned with armies or conquests. They returned with whispers, with shadows, with fear. And fear was stronger than any fleet. One young leader leaned forward, his voice trembling. "If they remember, if they still hold their strength, then one day they will not stop with warnings. One day they will come for us all." No one spoke after him, because deep down, they all knew it was true. In the dark of space, somewhere beyond their reach, the human warship drifted silently. Unseen, waiting, and in its core burned a promise, not of peace, not of alliance, but of vengeance. For humanity had been mocked for 1,000 years, and now the galaxy itself trembled, for fear of them always comes back. Across the stars, silence was no longer peace. Silence had become fear. Every empire, every council, every ship whispered the same words. We remember stories of the human warship spread like fire, and no one knew if it was truth or illusion. But no one dared test it. Soldiers refused to patrol near Earth's skies. Traders altered their routes. Leaders argued in chambers filled with shadows. In one council, voices clashed in anger. "We must destroy them now, before their legend spreads further," one shouted. Another slammed his hand on the table. "And how do you destroy what you cannot find? They strike from shadows, they vanish, they turn fear itself into a weapon." Silence fell, and then a general spoke with a low, shaking voice. "I saw them once long ago. When our ancestors fought, humans bled, they burned, but they never surrendered. Even in death, their eyes followed you. They are not like us, they are something else." Rumors grew darker, fleets that vanished without trace, colonies that stopped sending signals, and strange human codes appearing in secure networks. One message repeated again and again. Still here, still watching, commanders doubled their guards. Engineers tore apart their systems searching for intruders, but nothing could stop the whispers. One night in the capital, alarms blared across the skies, fleets rushed into orbit, sensors picked up massive contacts. Officers shouted, "Ships! Incoming!" Multiple signatures. Panic spread. Citizens screamed as the skies lit up. But when the image cleared, there was only one ship. Massive, scarred. The same warship that had haunted them before. It drifted slowly, daring them to act. On the bridge, soldiers trembled. "Why does it come alone?" one asked. The commander of the defense fleet clenched his jaw. "It is not alone. It is never alone," he gave the order. "All weapons fire." Beams of light shot forward. Missiles tore through the void. Explosions shook the stars. But when the smoke cleared, the warship still moved, untouched, its cannons silent, its shadow spreading across their entire defense line. Then, without warning, more shapes appeared. 1, 2, 10, 20, each one scarred, each one ancient, each one heavier and darker than the last. The officers gasped in horror. Multiple contacts, human warships all around us. The fleet broke into chaos. "We cannot face this, not this many," one soldier cried. The commander shouted, "Hold! If we break, the Empire dies." But his voice cracked. The human ships did not fire. They circled like predators, their presence alone crushing the will of their enemies. Then the comms came. Alive, dozens of human voices layered together. You tried to erase us, but fear cannot be erased. Fear waits, and now we return. The soldiers covered their ears as if the voices cut through their very bones. The defense fleet tried to retreat, but the humans moved faster, cutting off every escape path without firing a single shot. The commander screamed, "Fight them!" But his ships did not respond. Many crews froze, paralyzed by terror. Some even abandoned posts, their minds broken by the sight. Finally, one human warship broke formation, its massive cannon glowing with blinding light. "They will destroy us," a soldier whispered. But instead of firing on the city or the fleet, the beam shot into empty space again, erasing moons and scattering asteroids into dust. The message was clear. They could destroy everything, but they chose not to. On the council floor, leaders watched in terror as the broadcast of the battle reached every screen. The image of human ships surrounding their proud fleet, holding them like prey. One leader whispered, "Why do they not finish us?" Another answered, his voice trembling, "Because this is not the end, this is the beginning. They want the galaxy to see. They want us to fear every shadow, every silence." The human voices returned one final time. "We do not come to conquer. We come to remind. You laughed at Earth for 1,000 years, but now you will remember us for eternity." The ships drifted back into the void, one by one, until nothing remained, only silence, and the silence itself became unbearable. The defense fleet collapsed, their crews shaken beyond repair. Entire empires went into panic. Some prepared weapons, others surrendered to fear before a shot was fired. Across the galaxy, children whispered human stories in the dark. Soldiers flinched at shadows, and rulers trembled in their halls. In the darkness of space, far from any empire's reach, the human fleet gathered, silent, waiting, their scarred ships like ghosts of war. Within them burned the memory of 1,000 years of humiliation, and now they carried only one promise: to make the galaxy remember what it had tried so hard to erase. And so the legend of humanity returned, not with armies marching in glory, not with banners of conquest, but with whispers, shadows, and fear. For humanity had learned the greatest truth of war. Sometimes the greatest victory is not in killing your enemy, but in making them live every day in terror of your return.